Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SpeedForce Racing, and we've made it! We're here in Season 3 for SpeedForce Racing. My name is Jack, and I'll be your commentator for tonight. As per normal, you knew me a lot at the end of last season, and I think you know me a little bit better now. So, this isn't the same SpeedForce you once knew and loved. This is SpeedForce GP2, the second division, but I still class it as the first because it's the first series. It's the thing that paves the way for Premiere that will be racing later on tonight, that I will be live streaming myself straight after this event. But GP2 is amazing. I love the grid here. They are so fun. They're so entertaining, and it's amazing. So, let me run through the team list for you, and then we'll run through who we've got in here, as right now we only have 11 drivers. So, here in GP2, we have a mixture of the old guys and some new faces. Right now, in the Toro Rosso, is Linel, and it should be me. But I'm up here in the commentary booth because they didn't have my car ready for this particular event. How unfortunate. Thank you, Honda. Blood and Sands and Farfborough, an old friend of mine, has joined us and are heading back to Red Bull, Blood and Sands' home ground. I'm starting to think it's his favourite team. Smelly Badger and Racing Podge have settled in Renault. And Gamey Things and Jade Rios, I think they're the only team to stay together. No, sorry, the second. There's two teams that have stayed together this season. And that is Jade Rios and Gamey Things, who are in the Force India. And they've stayed with the Racing Point Force India now. And S. Graham and Yuzi, who have swapped from Renault to Mercedes power in the Mercedes. Peter Solheim and T. Jonas are in the Sauber, that beautiful Alfa Romeo liveried car, which I will be only dubbing as the Alfa Romeo. And Lightning Gasly is in the McLaren. I'm not sure if he has a teammate as of yet. And down in the Ferrari is... Here we go. Degenerist? I do apologise, I haven't read that name in a while. And Diboosh. And Diboosh, the Mighty Boosh, is another friend of mine who has joined SFR. And I think that's an amazing grid to start us off here in Australia. A track which has been criticised for opening the season a few times, saying it doesn't give off as good racing as, say, a place like Bahrain or a place like Spain, anywhere that would have given off better racing. Excuse me. But Australia is what we got, and Australia on this game is incredibly hard. It says very easy in the bottom right. It's not. In this game, here at turn 5, which is just after the first DRS straight, there is a little tiny fast chicane that you will go through. If you hit the curb on the inside of that, you're going for a slide in these new cars. And the fast chicane onto this third DRS straight here in Australia, a new feature which we'll be covering a little bit more in qualifying, is, well, treacherous, to be fair. Your tyres are worn through there, and you're in trouble. So, shall we see who we've got in here tonight? Let's have a look. So, in the Mercedes, we have both Mercedes drivers, both Scotsmen flying in the silver arrows. Neither of the Ferrari drivers are here as of yet. Both Red Bulls are here, Farfborough and Blood and Sands. The two Force Indias, Jade and Gamey Things, sporting in that beautiful pink livery. Neither Williams is here, because I don't believe we have a Williams team as of yet this season. And in Renault, we have both Renault drivers, Smelly Badger and Racing Podge, raring to go with the bite. Toro Rosso only have one driver, purely as the fact that I don't have a car built yet. Thank you, Toro Rosso, and mainly because I have decided to continue on my route of live streaming. Hopefully we'll find a driver who will be just as good as me in that car. The Haas team has got no drivers confirmed, and the McLaren team, it seems that Pierre Gasly, hasn't joined us tonight. As of yet, we still have over 3 or 4 minutes before we go racing, and both Saubers are here, that beautiful Alfa Romeo livery, which I will be gushing about all week. So, let's have a look at the drivers here. We have a fair few of them, and a fair few Scotsmen on the grid. As per normal, I do like a bit of David Coulthard, but these guys will do it. So, let's run through the settings that we're running for GP2 this year. Obviously, we're running modern F1 cars, because you don't want to do that. And these are modern F1 cars, as in, the Boosh is here. The Mighty Boosh has joined us in the Ferrari. What was I doing? Oh yeah, the settings. We're running modern F1 cars, not the classic ones. We may think about a Classic League later on in the season. Who knows? We'll see how this game goes and how much traction we have with cleaning a few drivers. As you can see, we have a lot of spaces free in GP2. If you feel like popping over and having a go, come on, have a try. We're not doing any practice because do your practice in a week, and we're only short qualifying as that's back up to its normal standards of 12 minutes. Not 12 minutes, 18 minutes, sorry, which is more like qualifying 2, which essentially it is, just with a grid. Then we're doing a 50% race distance, which everyone happy is about, except for me, because then I've got to do another 50% race afterwards for the Premier Division. The car performances are all equal, so you could see an Alfa Romeo win tonight, or you could see a Mercedes win tonight, as per normal in Formula 1. Formation lap is on, and in this game that's crucial, as you need to warm up your tyres and prove to yourself that you can warm the tyres up and have a good start. Don't forget to warm those brakes up either, Nico Hulkenberg, Spa. The formation lap, yeah, we've been through that just a second ago. We have now the safety car on. We have done a lot of practice, and it doesn't look like there's any issues with the safety car as of yet this season. Collisions obviously on, vehicle damage on full, watch your wings. Dynamic weather. Today is going to be an interesting time as weather plays a big part in Australia. Park firmate obviously on. Corner cutting rules on strict, as we always want that to happen. Car setups, you can run any setup you feel like running, whether it's 1-1 wings or 11-11. So, ghosting is on. That's debatable whether we're going to talk about turning that off or not, to see if the drivers will be good enough to drive without the ghosting on. You know, to see if they can drive properly. Well, everyone drives properly in this game. Rules and flags on, so you will be getting penalties and you will be seeing it flash up in the bottom right-hand corner. And race starts are set to manual as per normal. So we're heading over to qualifying now. There's the assist that I'm running. And we will be seeing the ultra softs, super softs, softs in dry race, and the intermediates and the wets running in the wets if we have that issue. There's that rain. We do like rain. Okie dokie. I'm trying to clear my phone of notifications so I can see what's happening. Okay. So, as you see, we're running 12 drivers tonight. This is obviously the first race of the season. A fair few drivers, unfortunately, couldn't make it down to it. I believe S. Graham will be joining us mid-session. No, he isn't. He's here already. Standing corrected. He said to me that he'd be joining later on, and I'm just running off past information. God, it's me. Coming into this session, we have no engine penalties, so no one will be starting from the back of the grid unless they qualify down there, which will be a bit of a shame. So drivers to look out for this season. Linnell, he's a brilliant racer, my teammate, and he should be up there doing some good jobs, provided he keeps all 4 wheels on the car. Franz Tost has told him not to break them. Farfborough, incredibly fast, and obviously these are all guys from the original SpeedForce Racing League, as we're stood here listening to, I believe that is Ben Daly in the commentary there on the side. So we're going to put lap data on, and we're going to sit here as the crowd goes wild for SpeedForce Racing's return to YouTube here, and GP2 has never been formally welcomed onto the Australian streets. Oh, and this is going to be a fun time. So, in retrospect, we have drivers from Scotland, from Wales, from England, and I'm not sure we have an Irish driver yet. That is a little bit annoying. But we have most of Great Britain here today. Most people getting represented by Great Britain here today. And we have a few drivers who are from beyond our shores. We see a Force India leaving the garage. I believe that is Gainy Things. No, it's not. It's Jade. Jade Rios is our first driver on track. Car number 22 in there, running a very stock standard helmet. I will get her in a pink Force India helmet. That is my goal for most drivers, to get them in a matching car. As we see Jade tearing down there, and we see a Renault in the background. I believe that was Racing Podge. So we're going to take a warm-up lap on board with Jade Rios now down into turn 4. This nasty hairpin where you normally see a fair few incidents as the drivers now all filter out onto track to do some laps. This is a turn you're talking about. If you hit that curve or go too wide out there, you're going to meet that wall on the inside. Don't want to do that. Don't want to hit the grass anywhere on this track. This track is pretty treacherous right now. This game, the handling has changed quite a bit, and obviously the glaring notice is there is the halo on the cars. Now, that halo has grown on me, ladies and gentlemen. I quite enjoy looking at the halo now. It's okay. It's done its job. So now right here, these turns, as you see Jay clipping the inside there, opening DRS now. What happens is, if you're running automatic gears, you can unfortunately drop your drop your revs quite a bit, as I apologise for notifications as Jade runs wide here. So I apologise for my notifications coming up. I will remember to turn them off at Premiere later on this evening, as we see Jade coming on to start her lap. And there's another thing. On her dashboard, you see a blue line. That is ERS, the electrical recovery system that all F1 teams run. So you see Jade now coming down. I believe it's her teammate there in the other Force India there. So we're going to be on board with a lap here of Australia, the Albert Park circuit, with Jade Rios. DRS opening on the second DRS straight. Now needs to turn for a lot of overspeed, hitting the apex pretty late. Now there's a Mercedes there who will be aware that she is on a lap. So she's going to try and make sure that that Mercedes doesn't hinder her. Her ERS bar is going low as she's in hot lap mode, but that D there is her D rating bar. Do not want to hit that too much. I know for a fact that Jade Rios is running a wheel right now, and she is doing fantastically right now. So much better than I was doing on the wheel myself. That Mercedes there not being a problem as of yet. She must be, you will be thinking though, I can see it coming. I can see that Mercedes there, and if he's on a slow lap, we're in trouble. And it isn't on slow lap, so she's got to make sure that that Mercedes gets away. That is Yuzi in the Mercedes, and Jade Rios has lost it, and unfortunately that's her qualifying lap over. And she is in a very bad mood. So we're on board now with Racing Podge. That means I think Smelly Badger is further along. So we're going to be on board now with the Renault, the bright yellow car, as Jade Rios, as the yellow flags are waved for Jade Rios there in the Force India. Jade is way offline, knowing that she's got damage, and Smelly Badger giving her all the room in the world, not wanting to ruin his lap himself. Going to swap onto the broadcast camera now. There's the car number 71. I tell you what, I think Lee Nell runs the same number. Lee will be a little bit annoyed he's running the same number as Smelly. Who picked it first? I don't know. Smelly Badger on the super soft tyres. Super soft to soft tyres is the way to go in this race. If you're not starting on the ultra softs, barely touch them as they shred. So opening our 2018 laps was going to be Smelly Badger, but his laps seem to have been invalidated. So I will attempt to find out who's next on a lap, I believe, if we just jump up to Blood and Sands. Gaming thing starts us off actually the other Force India with a 124.2. Will Blood and Sands beat that? And he does, a 123.0. In the Aston Martin Red Bull. As Sector 3, we have a yellow flag. Unfortunately, in this game, I can't select people who have crashed out, so I won't be able to see their corpse of a car in there. So we're going to be on board with Lee now for a minute, my teammate in the Toro Rosso. There's a Ferrari getting out of the way. I think that's Bush. I think he's the only Ferrari in this race as of yet. No, he's running car number 72. So car number 72 and 71 are both on track as T. Jonas takes the fastest lap of a 122.5. Do apologise that, as I had Mexican food earlier and it's not sitting very well. DRS open on the Toro Rosso. Honda Power Dreams now crossing the line, and Smelly Badger has retired from the session. I believe that's a crash. No, actually, that might not be a crash. Actually, I think it is a crash. It's not Dibouche, but Linell on those soft tyres has gone quicker than Gamey thinks. So on board with the number 4 Sauber of Petter Solheim, who's running a beautiful helmet this season. Remember, all drivers in SFR know that I will be critiquing helmets as normal. Sector 1 and 3, yellow flags. Don't know what that is. Sector 1, I believe that's just come on getting out way. Here comes Solheim, setting his first lap of this season. Where's he going to put him? He's 4th. A little bit way down from his teammate already running the Ultrasofts themselves. So Lee going for a very different strategy here as we're going to go on board with Dibouche, who's running a very nice Ferrari helmet there. You see, ranges of strategy going on right now. The super soft to soft strategy is doable as S. Graham leaves the session. Not sure why that is. I think that might be a disconnection. That might just be down to him having to do something. I'm not too sure. I'm getting messages here, and I believe that's the weather from my dear teammate Lee. Let's have a look. What's the weather saying? Dry qualifying and a dry race. That's a brilliant way, because last season in SFR, back when we were one league versus 2 divisions, we had a wet race here. And whoa, the Bush's back end stepped out there. I believe that was just down to lag here in this lobby. This lobby is seems pretty alright though with lag right now. You see the 360 camera just there, a little bump in front of the Halo 360 camera. As you see just on the dashboard, the Bush was derating, but he displaces Petter Solheim in the other Ferrari powered car of the Alfa Romeo, pushing him down a little bit further. So Yuzi's in the pit lane. So right now, with 11 minutes left to go of the session, we have T. Jonas on provisional pole with Yuzi in second place. Blood and Sands in third, Diabush in fourth, Solheim in fifth, and Linell in sixth. I know numbers. 7th is Gamey Things, 8th is Farfborough, 9th is Jade Rios, who's on an outlap after crashing in her fast lap at the fast chicane. Racing Podge is 10th, S. Graham is 11th, but he's left the session. Asmadi Badger has retired, I believe, down to a crash. I'm not too sure at this moment in time. So this is on board with the Mighty Boosh. It was on board with the Mighty Boosh, as we're going to sit here set to... And Jade Rios has retired. No! No! Poor Jade. She seems to have got it wrong at the fast chicane on her outlap. Oh no! I tell you what, I feel for every driver that crashes, but I know for a fact Jade has practiced so much for this event, and it's unfortunate that she has crashed there as we're on board with the Boosh. I believe on an in-lap himself. He's the only driver on a what we would call fast lap. Let's have a nose at Farfborough. His first time out in SFR, passing the stricken Force India, and that is so you know, I feel so much for Jade there. So this Red Bull here is Costa. He's given which car is he driving? He's driving Max Verstappen's car number 15. He's driving as S. Graham rejoins us. So that Red Bull car has given Max Verstappen 1 win this season. Will it give Farfborough a win tonight, or will it be someone else? This will be interesting. I believe the only driver... No, I don't. I tell you what, I need to brush up on my SFR history, because I don't know if any of these drivers have actually won a race. But anyway, we know for a fact that Farfborough has not won a race in this season, as he's never been in SFR. So, skirting the grass there in that Red Bull, running as little wing as he can, going down the DRS straight, hoping his hardest that the car will react as he wants to on those super soft tyres, as the rear end steps out. These cars are a lot more slippier than last year. Even on medium traction, I seem to struggle as we pass through that treacherous turn 5. Coming round into Sector 2 now, I find that's the best place there to save ERS around this track. All the way through there, up to here, turn it up into medium here, then back down into low. Spin into this corner, don't spin please. Put it up into high round here, catch as much speed as you can, just as during the race I'm saying. Coming round as quick as you can into turn, God knows what number, but it is the treacherous. You spin up your wheels on that corner and you're gone. DRS open in this new DRS straight here. Now braking into the first of the double right-handers, I seem to find it fun to save ERS through here. Heavy braking is the best place to save ERS, especially into this final corner. Then you just want to power as hard as you can. ERS up to 3, maybe 4 if you're following a car, maybe even 5 if you feel like it. Sector 3 yellow flags. Here comes Farfborough for his first laps in SpeedForce Racing, and he goes second. A brilliant lap from Farfborough on the super soft tyres. We're going to pop down to Gamey Things, who's already on a lap. Car number 39. He's running a blue and white helmet. So, you know what? Some colours match. Just need to get sort of that pink. Whoa, big lag from Gamey Things there. That's unfortunate to see. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it well. Just some gardening leave before we do anything, as Gamey Things is lagging all over the place. So we're going to actually leave Gamey Things and go back on board with Petter, who's about to cross the line now. The Season 2 champion, Noek, is no longer racing in SpeedForce Racing due to, I believe, personal commitments, either with college or something else. But he is still racing, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from him soon and see what he's been up to after he left here. He's pulled a Nico Rosberg, as T. Jonas in the Alfa Romeo Sauber goes even quicker on pole position. He's doing amazing. So... hopefully we'll be able to chat up and talk to our Season 2 champion soon. I'm not sure. I haven't messaged him in a few weeks, and I'll have a chat, see if I can get a few words off him in time for Bahrain. But the Season 1 champion, I believe Technothriller, may or may not still be racing with us. I'm going to have a sneak peek at the... once I remember that I now have a... I now use my finger to open my phone. Let's just have a look at the list division, which I will not read aloud. It doesn't look like. No, from this, it doesn't look like Technofrillo has rejoined us either. So, we will definitely see a new champion in both divisions this season. It will be either a GP2 champion who will either be promoted up to Premier, or will choose to stay in GP2 for Season 4. But that is a long way away. We have 21 races to go through this season. And it's going to be a whopper. Hold on tight, because the SpeedForce is strong with this one. So, we're going to go on board with Racing Podge, who's on an outlap. I'm fully aware he's on an outlap. I just want to have a look at most of the drivers if I can. Car number 66. That's not going to get difficult to read on there, as I keep thinking that the Renault numbers look exactly like 55 for Carlos Sainz, who is moving to McLaren next season. There is his helmet, blue and yellow, I think to match his native country of Sweden, which is absolutely brilliant to see. And you know what? It fits the car almost as well as black and yellow. It may even be a reference as well to the old Renault livery that Fernando Alonso won his championships in. Need that Renault back in our lives. Many hugs and kisses to Cyril Abiratal. So, winding up to do a fast lap. He's currently in 10th position, hasn't set a lap yet. The car number 66 of Racing Podge, not Carlos Sainz. Jeez. Today is not my day of remembering things. So, how can you do? We have a pretty topsy-turvy grid right now. Let's open up here and have a look at the best tyres. Linel is still in the pit lane with 5 minutes left to go, who's done his best lap on the soft tyres. So he's teasing us of what he can possibly do in this race. He's only done in 8th, but that's a really good lap right there. So, skirting the grass, there's the Renault as he comes down. The French team, the French outfit in yellow and black, with the blue helmet standing out beautifully in that car of Racing Podge. The Swedish driver, as he continues through his road in SpeedForce Racing into a top seat and a top run to see if he can get a shot at winning. I believe, you know what, that might be car number 65. I can't read the numbers. 6s and 5s look very similar on racing cars. That's what I've discovered. And I think it was also discovered back in the 1990s when Red 5, actually, no, sorry, 1980s? 90s? No, it was the 90s, wasn't it? Because it was after McLaren. Red 5. Blood and Sands has retired. That's Sector 1 and Sector 2. I don't think we have a driver up there, so we can't find out what's happened as of yet. We can't select his name. But that, it looks like it might be a damaged car. As you see, a little bit of understeer there from Podge. Yes, back onto my tangent. Back in the 90s. Oh, he goes deep. Podge goes deep. Back in the 90s, as Podge now pits. Oh no, that's the pit wall! Poor Racing Podge. That got close with 3 minutes left to go to the session. As you see, Linel now coming out on the Red Wall super soft tyres. Now, hashtag Ask JB, that is me. Hello, JB, is open now. From now until the end of the race, we will be seeing, I will be answering any questions you have in the chat, provided it's not what cup size I am, because I'm not telling you that yet. Anywho, back in the 1990s, the Williams FW14B, when Nigel Mansell was driving it alongside Nelson Piquet, the reason it was called Red 5 is because from a distance, as proven today, 5s and 6s look very similar. So they painted it 5. They painted the Red 5. Red 5 reminds me a lot of Star Wars. That was Luke Skywalker's X-wing and call sign, Red 5. I'm such a geek, yes. But it is an interesting fact nonetheless. And Red 5 obviously went on to win a fair few races, and I believe a championship with Nigel Mansell at the helm. But that's the past, here's the future. These drivers all looking to replicate Nigel Mansell's record and going for a championship themselves. Linel, I know, has got some amazing pace in his bag, and he's going to be pushing hard. Swapping from McLaren to Toro Rosso after Honda jumped ship from McLaren to Toro Rosso, and doing an engine swap as the McLaren in this series, in this generation of cars, now have the Renault engine powering it, though no McLaren's made it to the grid as of today, unfortunately. So Linel, following the Honda team, they seemed to give him a good car last year. So they seemed to give him a good engine last year, as Joshua Fletcher, his previous teammate, seemed destined to win the championship until Noah's powers re-arose and he flew to take the championship in Abu Dhabi, as well, I wouldn't like to say as expected, but as was predicted after such a difficult season for all the drivers. falling through. Oh, rear end almost stepping out there. I believe it's a Renault. That's only Podge, I believe. He's the only driver left there in the background. Yes, it is Podge, who still has not set a lap yet. Sector 3, yellow flag. That was just Podge getting out of the way. Lock up for Lee Nell on the front right into the double left-handers. Sector 3, yellow flags. That's just Podge trying to get a gap between him and Lee. Here comes Lee's first times on the super soft tyres. A few lockups. Not as clean a lap as he would have hoped. He's going to start derating now, but his lines on the dashboard means he's derating, but he goes 5th ahead of Dibouche on the super soft tyres. Tell you what, he's going for another lap on these tyres. He's got enough ERS as Sector 3 lights up with yellow flags. I believe it's just cars getting out of the way. 1 minute left to go in these sessions, and we're on board with Peter Solheim as he goes through the that fast chicane. Skirting the grass at the end. Fanatec logos everywhere. I don't use a Fanatec, but I know someone who does. That's yellow flags ahead. He's going to be struggling. He's using the grass to brake. Oh, he's gone in deep still. The Red Bull's on the line. Is the Red Bull going to realise and get out of the way? It does. Farfborough does a good job of getting out of the way. 30 seconds left of this session. Sorry, 35 seconds of the session left. Sorry. Here comes Peter Solheim to finish his qualifying run. He will get another lap, but he doesn't have any ERS, so it will be a build-up lap if he even does it. And there we go. He goes 8th. He's just shy. On board now with Racing Podge, the Swedish driver, pushing for his first. Well, I wouldn't say first anything, because this is GP2. This is an entirely clean slate for all drivers, as they're all pushing hard. Jade Rios, unfortunately, being crashed out, but still in 9th place. So, coming into the S's, much cleaner. I think he's still running ABS here, and I probably would be too. Coming round a second right-hander as the first driver to cut it is Yuzi, pushing everyone down with Dibouche as well. Finishing. This is it, the end of the lap. S. Graham's out. Dibouche is in 6th. Yuzi is in 4th. But where's Podge go? Podge displaces Yuzi and goes 4th himself. Farfborough is on a lap. Let's go on board though with Gamey Things. Gamey Things coming around the last corner now. DRS open on the 14. He's going to start derating now. He's just managing to get over the line. He goes 3rd. Well done, Gamey Things. P3, second row of the grid. But right now, it's all about Farfborough. He's the only driver on a lap except for Peter Solheim, who's not on a lap yet. Actually, I stand corrected. T. Jonas is on 102. T. Jonas goes even faster. 1:21.5 in the Alfa Romeo. Coming round the final corner is the Aston Martin Red Bull. Here he comes. Is he going to get pole position? We don't know. He crosses the line now, and he doesn't. Let's go on board with Petter. Petter coming across the line now. Has he done better? I don't think he has, as he has no ERS left. And that was a frantic 18 minutes here as Petter Solheim comes home in 9th. But T. Jonas is on pole, and he's struck the iron while it's hot here in Australia, and he is going hard for a season win, and he is in the best position to go to start this season. So as I'm sat here, is the confirmation. T. Jonas qualifying on the Ultrasoft tyres in pole position alongside SFR Lee Nell, on super soft tyres. So Lee going for a slightly longer strategy. Gaming Things a brilliant 3rd position for the Force India team on the Ultrasofts, and Farfborough in the Red Bull and on the super softs as well. This seems to be a pattern right now. We'll run through the rest of the grid as we get over onto the formation lap. Hopefully most drivers remember to only push for the formation lap. Yes, Josh, it is time to go, and it is time to go. Lee is doing an amazing job right now, the sole Toro Rosso in this race, as we're sat here waiting up for a dry race, and this is going to be interesting to head forwards onto the grid. So you see down in Yuzi's garage, in the Mercedes garage, Toto Wolff has especially had those prepared for us, so we can see what tyres are in that grid. And in car number 24's garage, Yuzi 1985's garage, is the Ultrasoft tyres. As you see, a fair few pit mechanics sat there, all probably having a bit of a coffee and a bit of a chinwag ahead of this race. And there in a white coat, you see, I'm going to call you Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, that's Lewis Hamilton. He's going to be looking at everyone's laps, and he's going to be excitedly watching to see how everyone will do. And hopefully Lewis will be joining us at every race there. I'm finding this a little bit too funny to call random NTPC Lewis Hamilton. So, with 12 drivers on the grid, the formation lap starts, and T. Jonas leads us away, I think for the first time in SpeedForce Racing. Going to pop up these. You'll change up to position times right now. So, the best thing to do for this division, is to go hard and go fast. But these tyres do suffer. So T. Jonas carrying on. He's already seems to be in a good position. He seems very at one with that Sauber and seems to be enjoying it. Car number 65 as S. Graham has been S. Graham, Jade, and Peter Solheim have been disqualified from the session, I believe, down to contact on the formation. Now, naughty, please don't do that. So the grid is as stands with T. Jonas on pole position with the bright orange helmet. Doesn't really match the car, but I won't judge too much. He's on pole. Lienel in second with Gamey Things in third, and Farfborough in fourth. Brilliant job for the first time out driver. Racing Podge in fifth, right behind Farfborough. He's pretty much sitting on his rear wing, warming up those tyres as best he can. Yuzi in sixth in the Mercedes, and in the other Red Bull of Blood and Sands is in seventh, and Dibouche is in eighth. Now, Pedder is in ninth, Jade is in 10th, S. Graham is in 11th, and Smelly Badger is in 12th. So that is our grid for this evening. 12 drivers, and we shall see who finishes and who doesn't finish at this very difficult Australian Grand Prix track. The AI will be taking control of T. Jonas's car now. He's a little bit far ahead. He's 2 seconds ahead from, 3 seconds even ahead from Lienel. So his tyres are going to start to cool rapidly quickly as we have a nice shot of the Marshalls. I should have been doing that last weekend, but I decided that it was my first week of college and I didn't want to get myself too hyped up for racing cars. Because I do that here as we get ready to go to lights out here in the first ever GP2 race here in SpeedForce Racing, and I'm so excited to be taking you through lights out here, and it's going to be all down to the starts as we get a good camera angle watching all the cars right now as the lights come on the gantries. 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and Smelly Badger is a drive-through penalty for jumping to start, but who cares because we're away in GP2, and Lienel's had a shocker of a start right now, and Gamey Things is past Lee. It's going to be whoever swoops into turn 1 fastest. Gamey Things and Lienel are fasting. Sector 1 is a thing. Lienel has been spun round in the background, and Lee is in a very bad mood now on the super soft tyres. Sector 1 has been struggling. There is Racing Podge in, getting passed by Gamey Things. And then there's a Ferrari of Dibouche. Gaming Things tapping Racing Podge. Racing Podge losing traction. There's Dibouche. Going to go on board with Dibouche already in this race. This reminds me of a Hamilton-Vettel-esque battle as Lienel from the front row goes to 12th position. Unfortunate for Lee as we're pushing hard now. Round here, sector yellow flags at the end of it. And Yuzi's out of the session. Yuzi is out of here, and that is a crash. Oh no, lap 1 claiming its first victim here in Australia, and this is a shocker. Gonna go on board now with Blood and Sands as he hunts down Smelly Badger. He's pushing for it. He's having a look. He decides not to through here. Passing through here, you had to get it done before as usually leaves the session. Oh no, Solheim is gone too. Peter Solheim is gone as well, and that is unfortunate. 2 drivers taken out of the 2 places, I believe, that are the hardest points on this track. Here comes Racing Podge, who's been passed by Dibouche. Dibouche is in 3rd position, and Racing Podge is now down in 4th. Both Renaults having a pretty alright start in 4th and 5th now as T. Jonas leads them away by 3 seconds, and Dibouche in 3rd place as T. Jonas goes fastest, and there Smelly Badgers into the pit lane. I believe that is down for a wing change on the Renault. Jade Rios is in 7th after the first lap, and this is madness as Dibouche chases down the Force India of Gamey Things. Unfortunately, I have to confirm now on lap 2 we will not be having post-race interviews as I've got to get ready for Premier Division, and we won't be having that in Premier yet. I am not ready to have a load of questions fired at them as of yet, as we're trying to make a rush as we see Gamey Things making a mistake. Here comes Dibouche. He's having a look now. The Ferrari driver wanted to pass, wanted to reclaim glory for the Ferrari team that struggled a lot last year in SFR. I believe only going down to 1 win. That was with the Gort, who's moved to Premier Division, and he had a fantastic run in the Ferrari. Gamey Things is having an issue. I think he's out of ERS because that was an amazing move there by the Dibouche, just moving straight past him, no questions asked, as we see 3 cars and 3 different engines going for it now. There is all over the place is Racing Podge, and DRS hasn't been activated yet. Here comes Farfborough around the backside. Is he going to get through? He doesn't. He's not brave enough, but Gamey's slow off every corner right now. Podge can sense it. He can sense that Force India's got a problem as he pushes hard to try and get past him. Oh, he's made a mistake though. Number 65. I'm going to confirm it's number 65 because I still can't read numbers. Here comes Blood and Sands in the Red Bull car, no, not car number, I can't remember his number. There we go, Podge going defensive already. I've got the UI still up, I do apologise for that. So, goes around the outside and Podge just let him through. Pretty sharpish as he knows. But Gaming Things had a mistake! Big mistake for the Force India driver as these drivers all jockey for position and the Podge having to absolutely stamp on the brakes there. And that might be sent to the stewards because we're not sure what's happened. And Jade Rios! No! Jade's in the wall! And it seemed like, oh, Jade angrily reversing in front of a Toro Rosso there. And that seemed like it may have been contact between Farfborough and Jade Rios. And we know for a fact Jade, very passionate about her racing, will be grumpy now. So, they're pushing each other. Mercedes power versus Renault power, and there he is, slips it right up the inside. There is Racing Podge. Look at that, a brilliant race already on lap 3 as Farfborough and Lee now have a good tussle themselves. Going to change it back now to what are we looking at? Stops, no, tyres. Having a look at tyres now. Now, every driver that finishes this race, due to having 2 retirements already in this race, will score a point, which is a good start. Sector 2, no! Jade is out of this session, and that is so unfortunate for the Force India driver, and she is going to be absolutely raging in that helmet, and she's not going to want to talk, and it hopefully, well, as you can tell, it wasn't with her teammate there. So, S. Graham still in strap mode 3 for his ERS here, as he's hunting down the Force India of Gaming Things, but he's made a mistake. He's gone way too deep into the hairpin. Now onto this final little kink. I don't really call it a turn, but it is a turn because of the speed you're going at. If it was a kink, you'd be going a lot quicker as Jade leaves the session, angrily grumpy, angrily walking down the pit lane, knowing that she's not happy with how this race has gone. But remember, there's always next week in this league as Farfborough comes into pit lane, so it must have been a crash with Farfborough that cooked her tyres. So 29 laps of racing left to go. Well, 29 laps of racing, sorry. 26 laps of racing to go, as I remember numbers. 26 laps of racing left to go today in Australia as we go through the current grid. There we go. The pole sitter, T. Jonas, is in first, and Dibouche is in second, his first time out in SpeedForce, and he's impressing and showing why he got a Ferrari drive. Blood and Sands, a veteran in this league, is in third in that Red Bull. Always seems at home with Christian Horner piloting that team. Then there's a Renault in fourth of Racing Podge and Gaming Things in fifth. Not sure how long that will be though, because S. Graham is hunting him as fast as he can, trying to get past that Force India, trying to get past the pink car as quickly as he can. Then it's Lionel, who started in the front row and just had a terrible start and seemed to get spun around as he cuts that corner. We haven't had any confirmation of any penalties yet, but we do know that there was a drive-through penalty for, I believe it was Smelly Badger in the Renault, who we're just having a look at now. I believe he got a stop-go penalty or a drive-through penalty, one of the two right now. I'm not too sure. Then bringing up the rest of the drivers is Farfborough in 9th place, unfortunately. And already on lap 5 this evening, we have lost Jade Rios, Peter Solheim and Yuzi. So a bad start to the season for these guys, but they can only go up from here in Bahrain next week, and be sure to tune in for that after we get through the Premier Division tonight, which is going to be a fantastic race filled with drivers who are so quick that it makes my eyeballs rattle and I'm sat in the commentary box. So here comes Blood and Sands trying to hunt down the Bush. Renault Power, sorry, Tag Heuer branded Renault Power. The last time you'll see that on the Red Bull in this current era. He will be heading, the Red Bull teams will be heading to Honda Power in 2019, if you didn't know, and then I don't know where I was going with this, but Jesus, I remember names. Dibouche is now going to be under threat in the Ferrari. Dibouche snapping to the inside, now getting pushed. Oh, I tell you what, Blood and Sands was not confident about making a move there. He's got no ERS left. He's still in overtake mode, trying to close it up on Dibouche. Dibouche seeming a lot more confident there in the brakes, as we see S. Graham finally closing up to Gaming Things, but can't make a move stick into that final DRS straight corner. As the DRS opens on the Red Bull now, this will be an interesting move. As you see, the Bush moves one side, moves to the other, aggressively defending, not wanting to get that position up at all. So going to go on board now as the Bush has made a mistake in the foreground. He's been passed. He has been passed by quite a margin now as we go on to the wrong driver, as I want to see look at the Mercedes driver. And you see, look at that. Oh, tough ask. You see the Mercedes car still struggling to follow cars. The aerodynamics on that car not enjoying itself at all. as we see the push running over the grass, frustrated with that little mistake, I believe that was made, that he's lost this. He's lost that. So, the only driver to have gone into the soft tyres was Farfra after a collision, I believe, with Jade Rios, as Farfra is going fastest right now down in 9th place. He's pushing his hardest, and Farfra, though, getting a 3-second penalty. I believe the first 3-second penalty of the 2018-2019 season of SpeedForce Racing, the GP2 division. So that's a little award that he can have. Unfortunately for him, that is not an award that you really want. Oh, there's a Renault going all over the place back there. Podge pushing as hard as he can. Gonna jump down, though, to Gamey Things and to Graham. Graham is going to have to try and get a move on if he's going to get past Gamey. He knows that his car's quick, but Gamey's on different tyres. This is very much like, well, ironically, Perez versus Sergei Sorokin in the 2018 Singapore Grand Prix. If you haven't watched that, I implore you to watch that. Just a little battle between those two, because Sergei proved his worth as a Formula 1 driver in my eyes, fighting off a car that was so much quicker than his, and a guy basically moaning down there going, that's not fair, he's in a Williams, he should move out of the way. But I'm not going to get all political in here yet. We've still got a long race to go, a long season to go. S. Graham going very wide out of that corner, not staying as tight as Gamey is, trying to get past him. Gamey seems to just be very comfortable in that Force India as of right now, but down in 5th place, seeing the Mercedes trying to hunt him down, that must give him so much what's it called, confidence. That's it, as I try and remember words. So much confidence to try and to be able to hold him off like that. But all the time that S. Graham's being held up in the Mercedes, as I apologise for another notification coming up, I apologise, all the time that S. Graham and Gamey are fighting, it's pulling Lienel just that little bit closer after that earlier collision in the race. As you see, Gamey going defensive early. This is going to get very dicey into the fast chicane. Who's going to be having the bet in the line? And you see that dropping down on very early is S. Graham. Oh, excuse me for burping on the microphone. So it's that is compromised his exit, and Gamey's just streaked away. 6 tenths between them now, 5 tenths as they get into the braking zone, and Graham is starting to get frustrated looking at the back of that Force India. And that is one of the most frustrating things you can feel, is when you feel you're quicker than another car, but the other car seems to always be able to get past you. See, he always get past you. He always seems to streak away on the straights. So Graham opening DRS now, pushing as hard as he can, heading towards the turn 1. That grunt as the Mercedes downshifts there, hoping to find it, as we see. Oh, I tell you what, I think Lienel might have made a mistake, because Smelly Badger's getting close. Lienel getting a time penalty. Here comes a Danny Rick dive bomb from the Englishman in the Mercedes, pushing hard and getting past the Force India. Oh, almost chopping his nose off there. Smelly Badger. No, Lienel in the gravel. Lienel, the Toro Rosso driver, who started on the front row in the gravel. Unfortunate there, as we see for some reason a red dot appearing on the front of it, and that Lee, his tyres are going to be cooked, and he's going to be in a really foul mood as Gaming Things now tries to get close. A Danny Rick dive bomb from S. Graham shows that those two did an amazing job of fighting there. So it seems, unfortunately, Lienel has been pushing a little bit too hard now, trying to get past everyone. And unfortunately, he's not giving anything. It's sector 3 with a yellow flag. Not sure who that is. That we might be seeing in a second. No, it's green flags now. That looks like it might be Farfra ahead of them. On a lap. No, who is it? Who are you? You're Podge. I think that's Racing Podge in the Renault. Getting closed in on by S. Graham. Let's have a look back on board with S. Graham as they're pushing like mad. Racing Podge's tyres are cooked here on lap 9 as Podge gets out of the way, and S. Graham moves into 4th. Following through those gamey things in the Force India, pushing hardest as we see Podge making the first racing pit stop off here. And let's hope that Smelly Badger isn't going to head into pit lane 2, because that would be very unfortunate for these two Renault teammates. So, 9 laps in, and we're about to see the first racing pit stop of this season. Here we go. That's a front wing change for the car number 65. Both Renaults now having a nose change, and that is going to seriously set him back in this race. So, he drives away on the super soft tyres, staying away from the soft tyres, unlike Farfra, who has just passed him in the pit lane. So, limiter coming off, now back up to racing speed, or international pit, back onto the national speed limit, as the sign actually suggests. You see, I've been revising for my driving test. But the pit lane limit round here is 37 miles an hour. If you want to know one of the most useless facts in Formula 1, there you go. I don't think these tyres will get him to the end, though. Whoa, big slide for the Renault. But I don't think these tyres will get him to the end, and I think he'll just have to pit again. And I think maybe the Ultra Softs are the next call for the Renault driver. You know what, though? Let's go and have a look at the leader, who has joined us in the pit lane. Let's have a look down. I'm looking down at my commentary box to see him, and he's got the pit limiter on. The Sauber team are ready, and he's going to drop behind Blood and Sands, who's going to start leading laps. So Tijonas, who has led 9 laps in this race, is now coming to the pit lane for his first official stop onto the soft tyres. And Bush, no, the mighty Bush getting a 5-second stop go penalty and a front nose change on that Ferrari. Lots of nose changes, and he pushes hard. And look at that. Tijonas has had such a lead that he's pitted and come out in second place ahead of S. Graham, as a fair few other drivers pit as well, promoting Lienel up into 5th after his earlier intervention. So there he is, our new race leader, the Aston Martin Red Bull, of Blood and Sands, as he's pushing now, but he hasn't stopped yet, versus S. Graham, versus Tijonas, that's his name, who has stopped. I do apologise, I still can't remember names. Just see me what it's like when I'm drunk. So S. Graham pushing hard now. He's behind Tijonas. Tijonas is on fresh tyres, so really he shouldn't be closing in too much on him. So the net race lead is still Tijonas, and I think that Blood and Sands will drop behind these two, Smelly Badger and S. Graham, if he is to pit now. Shall we see if he's going to respond as he comes round towards the pit lane now? He's into the final corner. Is he going to respond to Tijonas, his nearest race rival? No, he doesn't. He's following his strategy, which is push as hard as you can to, I believe, lap 12 or 13, as his tyres are starting to struggle. A little bit of lag in the lobby. Do apologise for that, as everyone seems to be very spaced out now. So those tyres have effectively done 12 laps due to a few qualifying laps, I believe he's done on those tyres. Let's go have a look at the Bush, as everyone's pretty spread out. He's got a car pretty close to him. No, you know what? Let's go down to Smelly Badger in the Renault, who is trying to close in on S. Graham. These two haven't stopped yet, and this is racing for position as they try and jockey and have a good start to the season early on here in SpeedForce Racing. Season 3, we made it 3 seasons here, and we're going to do a 4th one on this game as per usual. So pushing hard is the Renault as he tries to hunt down the Mercedes. I still, you know what, colours are even be a struggle to me today. So he's hunting down the Mercedes, as fast as he can, and the Renault is pushing as much as he can, as he's closed in quite a lot. I think S. Graham's tyres are absolutely cooked there. As long as you get look at that, it's so slow off the corner, hitting the curb, hitting the grass too. And you see, that's the unfortunate thing of being a racing driver, or a racing driver in a game, as Smelly Badger copies him, cutting across as well. So he decides not to try and hold the speed going through here. You don't want to get too close. Takes a shallower line. No, he's going to be alongside S. Graham even before the DRS zone. DRS open only in second on the ERS management, as he drops down. S. Graham trying to hold it around, but even I think there might have been a tad bit of contact. Front wing to rear tyre there. Renault still staying in the right direction, and the Mercedes seems to be struggling, as our race leader Blood and Sand pits after leading only 2 or 3 laps himself. So he's going to have fresher tyres, but he's going to be behind Smelly Badger, and Lienel might just, I think he's just going to be behind Lienel and maybe his teammate Farfborough as well. So here's Lienel pushing hard to try and get ahead of Blood and Sands. If he can do that, he'll be in a very good position here, and I think he just may have. No, he hasn't, because Blood and Sands is here at the end of that little straight, and you see S. Graham still in the pit lane, getting a new front wing on that Mercedes car. There he is. That Mercedes not enjoying being driven slowly down the pit lane, but that's what you gotta do. So here's Racing Podge in the other Renault, pushing hard to try and catch up with Gamey Things. We're on lap 12 here in Australia, and I'm hoping that we can have a good old scrap for the lead later on, because Blood and big slide there. Can look on my little replay I've got next to me, and you see, wow, that was an amazing catch there from Racing Podge. I think that might have been catch of the day there for the Swedish driver, sorry, Sankarota. But right now the battle closest on track. It's Farfborough hunting down the sister team, the Austrian team, hunting down the Italian team. DRS open on the Red Bull, pulls to the right, pulls to the left, but he pushes down, looks around the outside. Oh, he squeezed him toward the apex. They're still side by side. Toro Rosso versus Red Bull. The Toro Rosso concedes the position. Let's Red Bull go ahead, knowing the Red Bull is on the slightly slower strategy. As Smelly Badger, pits along to them, and so does Lee Nell. Lee Nell pitting for 5th place. He's going to drop further down. 11 laps, which is about 13 laps on the tyres if he'd done 2 laps as well. You hear the pit guns spinning up, I believe, on the Renault as he gets knocked out of the pit box and goes as far as he can. So, where are we? There he is, the Renault leaving the pit box, and there's the Toro Rosso getting service. A new front wing, no, for the Toro Rosso. Lots of front wings there, and lots of dirt on the underside of that Toro Rosso Honda. Why has he not left the garage? I believe this might be that. Yep, I thought so. Down to lag as Blood and Sands get a 3-second time penalty down to warnings. But the big thing right now is that Daibush has a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So we will be seeing where he comes out, because he'll have to make another stop, I think. Or that time will be added on to his time already. So, you got any questions? Put them in the chat right now. Hashtag AskJB is open. I will answer as many questions as I can if you drop them in the chat. As Blood and Sands leave the session. Why is Blood and Sands left the session? Blood and Sands has left the session from 2nd place. That is a disconnection and a very grumpy Scotsman if he loses that position to his teammate Farfborough. He's got to get back in, reboot his game, get back in as quickly as he can. That's why we have spare invites, but he's going to lose his position to his teammate, who I believe is also running car number 15. Yeah, they're both running number 15. That's going to get confusing. So, right now the big story is Sector 3. Racing Porsche is retired. No! Is that where I think it is? Ooh, it's not. Where's this? Yellow flags ahead. Where has Racing Porsche had his incident? He's there. Oh no, he's lost it on the grass and gone straight into the wall on the inside. And that is 8 drivers remain here in SFR. Round 1. But the big talk right now is Sector 1 and 3 yellow flags. I believe it. Oh god, who is that? I think that might be Blood and Sands. If Farfborough getting multiple warnings now, who's in 2nd place. But big news of Blood and Sands, who was having a brilliant time, has had a disconnection and can't get back into the lobby, as it seems. Either that, or he's got a complete power cut. It's very windy in Britain right now. We're getting the back end of a tropical storm, so it might be that as Racing Porsche leave the session. Grumpy there. And the only team left are the 2 Red Bull pairs. No, the only team left, there is no team left. These are all single drivers now, pushing as hard as they can, unless Blood and Sands gets back in that car, which he unfortunately is not right now. So we'll periodically come and check with him. But we're going to go sit on board with, who's the closest cars on track? I think it's Gamey Things, who's just trying to hunt down Blood and Sands now. So we're going to sit on board with Gamey for a bit. We're going to watch that Force Indy go round and round in a circle as we wait and see what's going to happen. Farfborough will be pushing it much further on those soft tyres than I probably could, as he's going now for his first race win. And this is going to be very interesting to see how all the drivers shape up to seeing Blood and Sands dropping down the order. Unfortunately disconnected. I've just seen a visual glitch there in the ring mirror looking back at the airbox on the car. It looks very clear. That will hopefully be fixed. I see Gamey doing a Max Verstappen-esque move and just cutting straight in front of a ghost and going, ha ha, you can't beat me. So coming down towards turn 4 is Gamey Things. The car number 39. Gamey Things having a brilliant season last season and hoping to continue, and I think hoping for big things in GP2, and he's going to be one of the guys that we're going to be looking at quite a lot and hoping to see what we can do with the drivers heading into it. But remember, stay with us on the channel, because straight after this race, well, after about a 5 or 10 minute gap, while I run down and rest my voice for 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to have the Premier Division kicked off. And those cars are going to be all getting ready in the pit lane right now as we see Sector 1 and 2. Sector 2, where's that? I think that was S... No, okay, who was that? Was that Lee? I'm not sure who that was. But Lee is now hunting down to S. Graham. S. Graham's had an absolute mare. Has he lost his front wing? Let's have a look. Yeah, it looks like that Mercedes has got a little bit less front wing from the angle we can see it at. Yep, that's a cascade element on the edge of the front wing gone. So that means that S. Graham has clouted the wall on his left side and has managed to knock off part of his front wing. So he's going to be in a very foul mood, as everyone here now is on the soft tyres. Going to go on board with Linnell getting more penalties. Unfortunately, those are probably non-removable by the stewards, who are going to be looking at incidents in this race as per normal. But as I was saying before, stay with us after this stream, because I will be having a 5-10 minute rest, and then we'll be going racing for the Premier Division Season 3 Round 1. The rear gunners, unfortunately, we have a smaller grid in this today, and a fair few drivers couldn't make it due to other commitments. I'm not sure what that was. I think some drivers were unaware that we were starting, as we were having a bit of a nightmare getting everything set up. But we've managed to get everything going, and well, there will be 13 drivers on the grid, but I'm up here in the commentary box because Honda decided that they weren't going to deliver my engines in time, but they got Lee's in time. Oh well. So we're going to keep on going as long as we can. If you want to have a nose in GP2, I think we've got the Haas team still open. Sector 3, here we go. Gamey Things is out of this race. Oh no, for Gamey. Going to be on board with the boot. No, we're not. We're going to go on board with, not Blood and Sands. We're going on board with Smelly Badger. There he is. Oh no, the stricken Force India. Going to get a better look here. He's lost it, and oh dearie me. That has gone very badly there for the Force India team, and it's going to be another race much like Singapore that the team is going to want to forget. Jade Rios having an incident, and then the car spinning up, I think, on dirty tyres, and then crashing out, and Gaming Things, I think, just overcooking it on his tyres. Oh dearie me, this race seems to be claiming more victims, as we only really have, what are we, 7 drivers in the race. Blood and Sands, if he doesn't rejoin, will not have his points counted to him, as he is not racing right now. Gonna go on board with Smelly Badger. So no, we have a couple of cars free right now. I believe that the Williams and the Haas cars are free in this division. So if you want to have a go and you're on SpeedForce and you're looking to join SpeedForce Racing, just drop the page on Facebook an email at SpeedForce Racing at PS4. I don't know why I said email. You drop them a message, or you message me, Lord JB13, or Linnell, who's up there in 5th on PSN, and we'll see if we can squeeze you in before next week. So we're always looking for more drivers here in GP2, and the same as in Prem. So we'll do a little speed test with you and see where you can go, and we'll see if you fit in with which drivers where. It'll be a great time to see more drivers, but right now we have these 6 drivers. Not going to go on board with Blood and Sands as much as he is not racing with us. Yeah, we're on board with Smelly Badger. Thank you, game. But we're now having a look at Daibush, who is on 8-lap-old soft tyres, trying to look for a way past Farfborough, who's 2 seconds ahead of him, yes. But Farfborough's tyres are fading. They've done it for 14 laps, on those tyres. He's been going as hard as he can. He's got fastest lap right now, I believe, and we've got 12 laps to go of this session, and this will be GP2's opening round, and it's been an absolute stonker. It's a shame right now that the grid's pretty spread out, but we know the Bush is going to be pissing, pardon my French, is going to be absolutely flying. That's the word I had in my head. He's going to be going as hard as he can to try and get past the Red Bull and make it a Ferrari-powered 1-2 as the Alfa Romeo leads 20 seconds ahead of everyone else, and T. John is having a great time there in the car. And let's run through the grid quickly as we keep an eye on the times. So there he is, T. Jonas, car number 99, I believe, is 69, sorry, comes up to hunt down S. Graham, who is close to being a lap down, unfortunately. Then there's Farfborough in P2, not sure for how long because those tyres are fading, and then Daibush in P3. Then P4 is Smelly Badger, and P5 is Linnell. P6 is not Blood and Sands, so it's actually S. Graham in P6. Blood and Sands will not be getting any points unless he rejoins and drives in that car, but he's currently left the session. I think that might be down to a power cut of some kind, or his PlayStation crashing, unfortunately. It's unfortunate we don't have as many drivers tonight as we hopefully will do next week in Bahrain, but Australia has never been a good season opener, so we shall see if we can have a good race in Bahrain next week. But we're still having one here, and we've still got one race to go this evening, with the Premier Division going live in not long. It might be pushed back a little bit as this race has not begun, has not entered its final stages yet. We still have 11 laps to go this race, and the Boosh knows this. He's turned up his time just a little bit, trying to hunt down Farfborough. Sector 3, yellow flags. I think that might be S. Graham letting... Oh no, S. Graham go for a big spin there. I said these cars were difficult to drive around this track, and it seems they are. As S. Graham... What? Not sure what S. Graham's doing there in the Mercedes car. It seems he defiantly did not like that bollard being there. He comes in, breaks down into 37 miles an hour and pulls into the pit lane for a new front wing, and he's retired from the session. So that leaves us with 5 drivers left in this, and Australia being a frustrating track for everyone. That's Farfborough in the pit lane with him. Farfborough in the pit lane. He's going to drop far down, but he is going to be the fastest man on track on ultra soft tyres. After an early stop onto the soft tyres, he seems to have done the right strategy. I believe 2-stop strategy has been very quick around here, but he should... I think he's going to drop not even behind... Yeah, I think he might just drop behind S. Oh, he might drop behind both of these. So he's got to battle through traffic. There he goes. No, he's comfortably ahead of the Renault, who is of the Renault of Smelly Badger. But he might not be for long, because here he goes. He's pushing as hard as he can. Yeah, there's only a few drivers left in this session as they push hard to try and go for these last precious points, and it's going to be a good opening stint for the season for these guys, who are going to be pushing as hard as they can. Lap record, yes, that might be what Farfborough is going for. He might be going for a lap record here, but it'd be questionable to see if he can catch up to Debush, who's quite a while away from him. I don't think he'll have that time in those few laps, but Gamey Things, who was unfortunately out of his session, I just think of his name because I'm used to saying his name quite a lot. It's all about, right now, Smelly Badger. Smelly Badger is trying to hold on as much as he can to the Red Bull as he looking to open DRS. I don't think he'll have DRS this time round, and the Red Bulls are on those ultra soft tyres, and he's not going to be able to catch up. But he's going to start looking behind him to Lee Nell. Sorry, today I'm terrible with names. Lee Nell, who is on the same tyres as him, so it's car number 71 trying to defend from car number 72 there. Not teammates at all. One Honda powered, one Renault powered, one Renault and one Toro Rosso, one yellow and one blue. I don't think there's a song for that, but here comes Lee Nell trying to get past him. He pulls to the inside, and it's a pretty easy move, lock up though, and Lee makes it stick. He'll have DRS through here as well, so Lee is pretty much going to be able to hold it down from Smelly Badger, who is the sole remaining Renault in this race. So there we go. That's that happening. But look at the times tumbling on Farfborough. Will this be a Red Bull spoiling Ferrari's time, and see that the Ferrari powered won't have a 1-2 here in SpeedForce Racing GP2 round 1. And this is a fantastic race already as we get ready to look at these guys. Will Smelly Badger be able to close in on Lee Nell, or will Lee Nell start to pull away? It looks like Smelly just seems to have a little bit more straight line speed than the Toro Rosso, and seems to be a lot more confident through here. Ooh! Ooh! You see him stamp on the brakes there as he makes a mistake, and I think that might be all she wrote there, as Lee Nell is going to fly away. But look at the times tumbling down on the top left-hand corner, in third place on the tower. The time is falling, but is it enough? With only a handful of laps left of this Grand Prix, we're under 10 laps away from T. Jonas taking the second flag. And here we go, fastest lap is awarded to Farfborough, a 1:24.3, the Red Bull team. So Farfborough pushing as hard as he can to go for the lap record, which he's just taken. I tell you what, Paris, that is a good talk. That is a good shout. Will T. Jonas's tyres overheat? He's been on them for a fair few laps, but he seems to have not had to push them for a while. He's just been taking a pretty leisurely drive there as he comes through and lining up towards the ghost of Blood and Sands. Look at that. His ERS is only at 70%. He's not really pushing as hard as he probably could, and he's just thinking, leisurely Wednesday night drive, as he comes around the disconnected Blood and Sands. No DRS though, as his pit board flashes for him to pits, but the Sauber garage not knowing what his plan is, and his plan is to carry on those tyres. I'm not sure because overheating often happens, as you see blue flags being waved for the ghost of Lansand, the Scottish ghost there, floating there going, get out of my way. Oh, sorry, I'll let you through, as I'm trying to remember everyone's nationalities as well. But very interesting to see if his tyres do overheat. Station, you were in fourth, but you think you hit the... Oh, Gaming thinks I was in fourth, but I think it hit the grass. Yeah. Unfortunately, Gaming, from where we saw what happened as Farfra goes even quicker. From what we saw what happened on stream, mate, you did spin up your tyres on the AstroTurf or the grass, which suffered, of course, your Red Bull, no, your Force India, because you're in a Force India, to spin around and you lose a wheel, unfortunately. But there's always next week, mate, so push as hard as you can next week, and early DNF doesn't mean that we've got a long season ahead, and this is going to be an interesting time here as we keep an eye on the leader. But we're going to look at the fastest man on track. There's Farfra, car number 15. His teammate, also car number 15. I wonder if there's going to be a talk between the Red Bull boys. Oi, you got my number. As Lee now getting another time penalty, pushing hard to try and catch up. Fourth place, he's going to be ruining that. Fourth place for Lee Nell, unfortunately, down to, he had a very poor start, and he's just dropped down. And I think there was contact at the start of the Grand Prix, as well as you see Farfra skipping over the curb, trying his hardest to go for the fastest lap again. He might still have life in those tyres. He's done 3 laps, but in race trim, I don't know how that will continue. As he carries on now, trying to get the lap record even quicker in SpeedForce Racing GP2. Look at that, very controlled there for the Red Bull driver. Most Red Bull drivers have been controlled unless their name is Daniel Kvyat, even though he might be in line for a seat in Toro Rosso again. Does he go even faster? He doesn't this time. He was a half a second slower that time round. So, has he burnt out his tyres too quickly? And is Lee now starting to close in on him? The answer is no right now, as Lee now's time goes up by quite a lot between him and Farfra. But that might have been just because he was in the corner. Let's go on board with, you know what, we haven't been on board with Lee for a bit, really. So Lee trying to hunt down Farfra. I don't think he'll do it. His tyres are on, definitely, his tyres are a little bit older, just a little bit older than the Red Bull's tyres. So unfortunately, I think this is how the grid might end unless we have any late safety cars. And we had a fair few collisions, and we've not had any appearance of the virtual safety car or the safety car this race, even though we've lost 7 drivers all on their own. Maybe we'll see it again next in the next stream, which is in not long, for the Premier Division. So stick around for that if you want to watch some very quick guys go around, and they're probably sat in the garages waiting to take over these cars from the drivers. And I'll tell you what, the Force India drivers in that league, they must be looking at each other going, oh dear. So the teams have got the spare cars ready for us to get into. Oh, big slide for Lee now there, going through towards the double left-handers. Oh, those tyres, those rear tyres don't look very healthy. Can't look behind us in this game. So you have to have a nose of the rear the rear wing mirror. That's it. Can't remember the name of some bits of the car, but he's pushing hard, and I don't think though, because there is Smelly Badger who's closing in on him just a little bit as we head into the last few laps of the race, and unfortunately it's going to be a quite anticlimactic race end to the race, though our dear friend Farfra in the Red Bull is going to try and push to get into P2, and he could just do it. But as I said earlier in the Grand Prix, before I was rudely interrupted by, I think, Daibush going around the inside of someone, there will be no drivers' interviews at this point, as we don't have time to do drivers' interviews between the sessions. We need to find a stable time to allow me to have 5 minutes to myself before I jump back on stream again. I'm not normally not normally doing 3 or 4 hour streams. I think the most I've done ever has been a 2-hour stream, and that was for another league which I often commentate on and I very much enjoy talking to. Okay, so lap 26, our leader. Let's run through the drivers we have left. We have T. Jonas in pole position. He's having a dominant race here, pushing as well, not really pushing, since he struck away from the grid and seemed to just disappear. The Alfa Romeo showing how much quicker it is right now than any other car. Just realised that he's driving Charles Leclerc's car as well. So there you go. Charles Leclerc, that gave him a good setup. But T. Jonas is a very quick driver and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's done league racing for quite a while, so he knows how to position the car in this game. Seems to suit him very well. Then as Diabush, as he passes through Gladden Sands' Ghost, there we go. Nearly 25 seconds between them. So Diabush is now going to have to hope that as Farfborough gets another penalty, hope that he continues. But, oh, that reminds me, Diabush has got a 10-second penalty down to him not serving his stop-go penalty. I do not think... No, he hasn't served his stop-go penalty. So, he is going to be in a bad position. He might still lose second place to Farfborough, who we're going to look at now in the Red Bull. So Farfborough is still in line for second place. He will not know that the car ahead has got a 10-second penalty. They'll be saying, oh, yeah, the car ahead has got a time penalty, but he doesn't know by what extent that time penalty is. So, any more penalties, and Farfborough may still be behind him, but this could be crucial, because Farfborough could still be in P2, and this would be a brilliant result for on his first time out. But there is Lienel in fourth. The man who started in second. He's had a pretty dire race after being spun around at turn one. And ever since, he's just really struggled at this track. Hopefully he can do a little bit better in Bahrain next week. And then the final point scorer will be Smelly Badger. Even though it says Blood and Sand is still in the race, he doesn't count as he is not driving his car right now. It is the AI going around in circles. So Smelly Badger will be carrying out the final point, and that is only 5 drivers left in this session, down to a fair few crashes and some people deciding, okay, enough's enough with this race, I'm not happy with it. So we're going to jump on board with Farfborough, and this has got interesting, remembering that he ahead has got a time penalty. So I'm going to keep my eye on it and remember when T. Jonas is starting the final lap of the Grand Prix. This is going to get very difficult, but Farfborough is still closing at a rapid pace, and he'll be able to see the Ferrari ahead of him in a moment or two there. Just in the foreground, for a split second, he saw a little shape of a Formula 1 car's wing popping up. T. Jonas is dominating drive, is continuing as he heads onto the penultimate lap in a few seconds, waiting for that 7 in the 27 turn 28. There it is. So he's on the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, just noting where Farfborough was on the track when he went round to it. So we'll see him start the final lap of the Grand Prix next time round. In America, you see the white flag, but we're in Australia, so we won't. Here we go. Is Farfborough going to start closing in a rapid pace now? He's done a lot less laps on these tyres than Diabush's, and Diabush's will be starting to struggle themselves. But where is he? There he is. That's the Ferrari just there. You're going to have a look. Yeah, the Ferrari taking this corner very well versus Farfborough, who is just pushing. And Farfborough really doesn't have to push as much as he does. But let's see if he's going to save ERS into this corner. You know what? Let's load up the telemetry and have a look. He's in ERS 2. I don't normally put this on, but this is just for when right now as he mounts that curve. He's in ERS 2. Now, normally through here, I'm turning it down to 1 or maybe 0 if I'm far enough ahead. So I'm recharging my battery as I'm going. But he's staying in medium. He's pretty confident in medium right now. But he's gaining an absolute ton of time versus Diabush ahead of him. And Diabush has got a time penalty from speeding in the pit lane. So continuing on, you see Farfborough still only in medium ERS deployment, which is I don't know. It might be down to the fact that he might be using auto. That is also an option in this game if you're not sure what that is. There's auto ERS deployment where the car, it's all done automatically, so you don't have to bother with changing the settings or anything. I don't like to do that. I like to change it personally myself so I know what position I'm in. It makes it feel a little bit more authentic as well. But you know, I've not seen it fluctuate, so I think he is genuinely just in number 2 as he lifts off the throttle through there and pushes hard through that. A little bit of a mistake for that. So we're going to turn the telemetry off and push now back onto the broadcast cameras. He's hunting down Diabush ahead of him. But Diabush is currently under threat from that position due to his 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane and not serving it down to doing a 1-stop race versus Farfborough, who I believe is under 2-stop. Let's open it up. Yeah, Farfborough has done 2 stops. SJM has done 3, but he is no longer in this race. Let's have a look at position changes. So Diabush is down 6 places up as, oh dear, I didn't notice it. There's T. Jonas on his final lap of the Grand Prix. T. Jonas has had a fantastic ride today. He's not changed positions at all in this Grand Prix. The only time when he changed position was when he was in the pit lane. But T. Jonas is now having around the final few corners. It is. Around the final corner now. T. Jonas is going to win here in Australia, win in Season 3, win in GP2, and he's the first winner of GP2. Well done, Jonas. Well done, mate. You've had a fantastic ride. And right now is the question, who's going to come home in second though? Is it the Bush? Is it Farfra? Well, on the road right now is going to be the Bush. But with penalties, who's it going to be? Who knows? So the mighty Bush, as I call him, comes around the final corner and pushes now. Almost taking his wheel off on there. Weaving on track. He's happy as he crosses the line now. Here comes Farfra though. Is Farfra the winning party? He doesn't. Farfra in third place on his debut. Well done, Farfra. And then Linnell in fourth. A disappointing race for him. He's going to be ruining that fact that he made a mistake earlier on in the race. And I think he might have had an ERS failure as well. Who knows? Smelly Badger is the last driver on the lead lap and the last driver to score points today in fifth place. And he crosses the line now. So a brilliant race from all of them and a good drive from all these drivers, and well done to T. Jonas, who draws first blood against everyone else with a first place in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. There he is, excited as can be as he's standing there. Look at his team, happy as they can be. Look at that, so happy. Could be better if he had a beard, but you know, his character doesn't. Petter Solheim's left the session, and the Norwegian lifts up the champagne, and the next door Welshman, and a nondescript man in a Red Bull. But stay with us here on the SpeedForce Racing PS4 channel, as later on I believe in a few moments, not in a few moments time, we'll be heading over to seeing, as you see T. Jonas' car there in the background just scraping on the wall, we'll be heading over to the Premier Division to see how they do after I have a 5-minute break to myself. But here we go, T. Jonas in first with Daibush in second, Farfra in third, Linnell in fourth, and Smelly Badger in fifth. The non-finishers were Blood and Sand, S. Graham, Gamey Things, Racing Podge, Jade Rios, Petter Solheim and Yuzi. All non-finishing, but all still giving us a thrilling race today, and a well done to Australia, and welcome to GP2, and I hope you can rejoin us next week. Now, I will run through where we're going to next week. Next week we're off to Bahrain, and we'll get a little bit of a few fast facts on Bahrain as we head back to the lobby before I have to go and do a quick turnaround for the Premier Division. But that race went very well. No post-race interviews, unfortunately, this time, as we're going to have a quick chat with over to the Prem drivers before we do that. But that was Australia. Next is Bahrain, and we'll be seeing Bahrain next week at 7:20. I'll be starting this live stream as per normal. So stay on the channel and keep having a look, because I'll be starting another live stream in about 5 or 10 minutes after I've had a quick drink and maybe made a coffee for the Premier Division, who will be going racing in a fair few minutes. So sorry, put my teeth in and try and do my outro. What I say at the end of every stream is ta-ra, but it's really just I'll see you in a few minutes. Have a nice time in a few minutes, and have a nice time to all the GP2 drivers watching back this race. You did very well, and I will see you next week for the Bahrain Grand Prix. See you later, guys.